the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, Week 12. Rankings, breakdown, debate, the whole shebang. What I want you to do before we start is smash the like button. And if you do that, that is step one into getting into a draw for 20 DK. Step 2, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. Step 3, give me a stat line on the Gus bus. Gus Edwards for the week. Give me some carries, some yardage, some receptions, some targets, and a touchdown. You don't need to be the most accurate. You just need to be drawn out, and then the winners will be announced on Monday's show. I'll be live on Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. But the big one, Thanksgiving Day. Being Canadian, I can work on Thanksgiving. I don't need to take the day off. So myself and Chris Meany will be live in studio 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can watch it on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope. You can ask your questions about the Thursday slate of games. We'll be going through all the spreads, all the showdown contests, the main slate wishbone for DraftKings. It's going to be fun. So if you got nothing to do, or you just want to avoid your family, which is usually what I do on my Thanksgiving, this is the perfect hour to kill. Plus, you can check it out on demand after the fact. And then immediately when the games start, the Sunday slate for DraftKings comes out too on the Pat Mayo Experience. So tons of content to get you through the weekend. Plus, I'll be fresh on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So I got you covered. While others are letting you down, I will have your content needs fulfilled over the holiday weekends. Please retweet it out so other people can find it too. We're still in our cause to get to 10 million downloads for the year. So download the audio podcast, Garion Thorne.
He said that like accusatory.
No, I don't think
As if that were not my real name. As if someone would willingly go by Garion Thorne if they didn't have to.
I mean, you don't have to.
I guess.
It's like
I guess that's true.
It's like people think my real name is Pat Mayo. Joke's on them. It actually is, but it would be a decent stage name, I think.
It's not bad. It's short and quippy. That's kind of what you're all about.
That's what you want in a name. Like if you're Pat Mayo or Jake Ciely, you could be, really in the running for good name to say out loud and very easy to remember. Jake, did people call you just Jake? Do they call you Ciely or do they call you Jake Ciely? Because a lot of people in my life just call me Pat Mayo.
You mean growing up? I got a lot of Ciely, and then I got a lot of stupid Ciely Posturepedic. That was a good one because that was original for about a day.
Why don't we just call you the Mattress Man?
The Mattress Man? No, that's I could definitely do without that one. That's fine.
We could call you the Mattress Man, and then for Halloween, you could go as Philip Seymour Hoffman from Punch Drunk Love, who was also the Mattress Man. Real creepy.
No, I also during that wonderful 1%. Time, everywhere I went, I got the from State Farm. So that was very enjoyable for about 3 years when everybody thought they were the first person to make that joke.
This one I do remember.
State Farm?
Just Jake's hatred of that State Farm campaign.
Yes.
Like I established.
I'm sure he's very pro the double agent campaign they currently have now.
Oh, the one that sounds like Kermit the Frog? He's like, I'm Aaron's agent.
Sure.
I couldn't even make out what that was.
That was more of a Fat Albert.
Fat Albert Kermit.
Next time you see the commercial where's the one where he says, I'm Aaron's agent, listen, he sounds like Kermit the Frog.
I will.
Okay. Do you have big Thanksgiving Day plans, Jake? Are you taking like 2 days off here?
No, I'm just like you. This is the business. You don't take days off. I go with the family, but I'm going to be updating the rankings Thursday morning for everybody that's out there. I'll be watching the games and just doing what everybody else is doing. I still have my podcast, which I'm going to double record tomorrow so I can put the one out on Thursday. So yeah, just like you, it's just going to continue to work right through it. It's part of the season. We're used to it at this point. It's
true. You've been doing this long enough. You know Thanksgiving's coming. You got to get prepped for it. So Jake's rankings you can find on The Athletic or theathletic.com. The Athletic would be way better. Mine are up on dkplaybook.com and in the description of this video where you can find the time codes. I guess, should we go position by position or should we talk about the Thursday people first? Because I don't want to get too bogged down in the Thursday stuff because some people like to watch this after Thursday and they're like, and I don't need them knowing how terrible my rankings are after they already know the results of 3 games.
You could do both.
Position by position is fine. We could
I was going to say you could do Thursday and then segment it and then go position by position after that.
The thing is, I don't have them segmented on my page for just Thursdays. And I'll also be looking.
Then why'd you ask?
I don't know. I thought maybe, I don't know. You know what? I shouldn't have brought it up.
This is a season-long show. If they're interesting enough that we have to talk about them, they'll be brought up.
Okay, so if you want Thanksgiving Day only stuff, Davis and I have a show already out for showdown slates, full slate DraftKings. You can go check that out on the DraftKings YouTube channel or up on my podcast feed right now. Let's get into this. Running backs. Guys that I have currently in. Kenyon Drake. He has a shoulder injury, but I think he's going to play. Guys I have out. Garion, Ronald Jones, Donta Foreman, Darren Sproles, Doug the Pug Martin, and Chris Thompson. Chris Thompson is a Thursday game. Don't think that he's going to be coming back.
Didn't practice today, so bad start.
I don't know if he's coming back this season.
Really? You don't think he's going to come back at all?
I don't know that he is. And at this point, even if he does, a lot of people are asking, should I keep holding on to him? If you have an IR spot, obviously. But at this point, I drop him. What are you going to do? Why are you holding on for? Because even if it comes back, you're not going to start him his first game back because you're going to want to see what he is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So
this is the time to probably start like bogarting defenses in good matchups for week 14, 15, and 16.
And handcuffs and backup quarterbacks now and all that stuff.
If people are interested in that, go to the Monday show that I did with Meany. All the time codes are right there. We went over strength of schedule and defenses to pick up for the playoffs. Broncos.
I say, just wait till the guy drops Broncos tomorrow because he doesn't want them playing Pittsburgh, and then pick up the Broncos. And if that doesn't happen, pick up the Lions, and you're fine.
The Lions have sweet matchups, 14 and 15.
The best.
I bet. I feel. Like
I kind of don't hate their Minnesota matchup.
I can't trust the Lions.
So many sacks though, and it's Arizona and Buffalo.
Those are teams you want to stream against.
Yeah.
But they don't. They don't even get after the quarterback.
They do though.
They have the third highest adjusted sack rate. Granted, it has not been as good when they have the highest. It's gone down, but they were so far ahead.
Basically, since they added Damon Harrison, because that was the whole problem with the Giants. Is he's so one-dimensional.
Last I checked, they were third.
I think it's dropped the past couple weeks.
Okay, fair enough.
They're still inside the top 10 right now.
Yes.
So we'll see. If these trends continue, they'll be last here pretty soon. But if they're not, 14 and 15, they do have pretty sweet matchups. But running back rankings, number 1, no Todd Gurley, no Kareem Hunt.
Doesn't matter. Sucks now.
Yeah, he's terrible. Melvin Gordon comes in at number 1. Zeke, Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, David Johnson, James White, Nick Chubb, and that awful, awful, awful Mark Ingram has been ranked at number 10 by the Fantasy Pros consensus. So the aggregation of all the experts from around the industry, they love Mark Ingram. 11, Leonard Fournette, Matt Breida at 12, Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Sony Michel, Tariq Cohen, Marlon Mack, Philip Lindsay, and Rocket Richard at number 20. Number 21 actually ties into a Jake tweet from earlier. It's Adrian Peterson. And Jake was tweeted out that he needed to get a controller for a Switch. And the first thing that popped in my mind was Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
I had no idea what you were talking about. And then I started looking, it's like, oh, it's a Nintendo system. Not
I thought you were going to talk about what we talked about last week. I thought you were going to say with 21 is that I said, how is he not with Mark Ingram in worst place? Because you expect him to do well and he disappoints. And then when he disappoints, like he's supposed to disappoint, is when he goes off. So like this week, I mean, if you're looking at it, he should do amazing because the Dallas's run defense is actually really good.
And speaking of weird tweets, did you see the guy who tweeted at you, sort of congratulating himself, but thanking you for how amazing he did in terms of DFS last weekend, but in his flex spot was Mark Ingram?
Yeah, it was Kyle. So what happened was Kyle had like a chalky lineup, but he was trailing going into the afternoon games and pivoted off of the 2 plays and went on to Ingram and someone else.
Right.
And that's what put him over the top, and he won like 61K.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why some people make their own decisions. They absorb information, then decide to make the decisions themselves.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Well, as you'll find out, as spoiler alert for the show I did with Davis, that if, what the hell is his name, Keith Kirkwood has a week, I'm going to win the Bucks. So watch out for that.
There we go.
So of those guys inside the top 20, where would you go? Because there's only 2 teams on bye. Like,
yeah, we
got guys to play now. Like, you play all these guys.
Yeah, you're playing all of them. I would say for me, it starts to get a little muddled after Joe Mixon. I wouldn't have Dalvin Cook as high as you have Dalvin Cook.
He had one bad game. One bad game.
I still have him that high.
88% of the snaps. He's not playing Chicago. That's great news.
Maybe it might not even be anti-Dalvin Cook. I think it's just more like if you put him right next to Marlon Mack, I would just rather have Marlon Mack. I think the matchups are similar. You might even lean towards Mack in that circumstance. And you've got a team in Minnesota who, for as much as the high pass ratio has obviously been about the fact they didn't have Dalvin Cook in their backfield, I think it's also a little bit admitting we know we don't have an offensive line. This is a terrible run-blocking offensive line. They're towards the bottom of the league in adjusted line yards. They just don't seem to want to run the football because they can't do it.
Well, they've been getting behind in these games, and like they just couldn't against the Bears. What they really should have done, just run a bunch of screen passes, which they didn't do, which I still don't understand. But still, in terms of Dalvin Cook, I just think like if Dalvin Cook wasn't here and it was just Latavius Murray, we'd have Latavius Murray ranked at like number 12.
Yeah, and I would have Marlon Mack ahead of Latavius Murray. I just think it's a better spot. I think there's more guaranteed touches, and I think it's a team
I don't
in a
know about that
situation
because
Marlon Mack doesn't catch any passes.
I mean, Dalvin
no,
Cook
and
had
that's the
2
thing
last
is
week.
But I mean, what are
he's got
they
his
didn't
role.
do
He's
anything.
got his
The
role.
entire offense didn't do anything.
Fair.
They're going to do stuff this week against the Packers.
Yeah, and it's going to be through the passing game.
And they'll probably pass to Dalvin Cook. He still had 3 catches.
I mean, they have 2 wide receivers who are averaging double-digit targets per game. It's a little hard to say they're just going to get Dalvin Cook this massive amount of targets.
I mean, in the games earlier this year when Dalvin Cook was there, I believe he was averaging 6 targets a game. And then when he came back in his like half and half week, he was still getting usage in the passing game. They just sucked last week.
Fair. We've just seen Marlon Mack in these particular scenarios. I just think he's a near lock for roughly 20 touches. And I don't know if I can say the same thing about Latavius Murray, but Dalvin Cook. And again, a matchup that I would argue is probably a better matchup with a team that has a much better run blocking offensive line. I would between the two start Marlon Mack this week.
Okay. I like Dalvin Cook still. Jake, you're the tiebreak here.
Yeah, I'm going with Dalvin Cook, and I understand. Excuse me. Yeah, it's just a little bit of that cold still coming back. I understand the argument of both sides. Again, I'm going back to what you were saying about Dalvin Cook. Is I know he's going to be out there for the majority of the time. I understand what Garion's saying, and the matchup is there. But the one concern I have is you go back to like just last week and the week before. Actually, the week before that, Nyheim Hines got the first 2 carries of the game, and I see more usage with the other people involved with the Colts, whereas I know Dalvin Cook's going to get basically everything. And so, look, they're both inside the top 20. You have them, back to back almost? Where do you have Marlon Mack? See, I would have Mack a little bit higher to Garion's point, but I would still lean Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
I mean, like Jake said, they're both top 20 backs. It's fine
you're
at the
playing
end
them
of the
both.
day.
But I mean, that's a situation where you could be in that you might have them both.
Sure. I would say, though, I do enjoy that you have both of them definitively over Phillip Lindsay. And I know if you just go by the Fantasy Pros consensus this week, he's like a fringe
Phillip
RB1.
Lindsay scored 2 touchdowns last week. He's
I know.
unstoppable.
I
Phillip
still
Lindsay's
think
11
In the
on Fantasy Pros.
Seriously? That seems like risky biz.
Look, and it's
just
not
pulled it up.
to take anything away from Lindsay. Like, Jake was on this
He's
train
good.
before most people. He's exceedingly good. And actually, if you look at the snap log from this week, his role did not change from the 2 games he played without Royce Freeman. He was still around 57% of the
Freeman's
team's
stuff
snaps.
all came from Booker.
Exactly. But
T.
you'd have
Harlem
to think
Heat.
that Freeman is probably going to get more than 13 snaps in their next game as he continues to get a little bit more healthy. And like you said, he's not going to break off a 41-yard touchdown every game. And Freeman actually had more red zone carries than Lindsay in that game. He out-touched him in the red zone 5-4. So there's still just a little variance here where he's not an RB1. You can't make him an RB1.
How about this? Maybe Royce Freeman's not that good.
That's fine. But until the team admits that and until the team is willing to just say, hey, was it a 2nd-round pick or a 3rd-round pick?
I forget.
For Freeman?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was 3rd round.
Either way, until we're willing to just completely disregard our current 3rd-round selection, they're still going to run him out there at least a couple times a game. It seems like they're doing the red zone.
That is why I have Phillip Lindsay at 19.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that there's a floor for him. He could have a really bad game here.
Yes, he
Yeah,
could.
3rd round.
Yeah.
The variance is just too high. So I'm glad that he is towards the bottom of the RB2.
But
He's still an RB2 for me. To have him as a consensus RB1 seemed a little insane.
Who, Lindsay or Freeman?
Lindsay.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing. Is like I was actually saying to this point about the Lindsay of being too high is I'm a fan of Freeman. I like his talent. Initially, at the beginning of the season, I had him as an RB2 because I wasn't expecting Lindsay to be involved as he is. And I think Freeman is better than people realize. And you look at the offense he came from, you look at the conference and all the type of usage, there could have been more there. Now, I'm not saying Freeman is amazing. We've certainly seen plenty of concerns to your point, but he's at least involved enough. And then you still have Devontae Booker sitting back there where it's, what we were talking about earlier this year is 33%, 33%, 33%. Like, it's just, why do you want to deal with that? I like Lindsay, but I'm with you guys. I think, especially against what has been an underrated Steelers run defense this year.
Just the Steelers defense in
general
general has just gotten a lot better over the,
Yes.
almost every subsequent game. It's gotten better and better and better and better.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the argument would be that if we do get into a predictably negative script for the Broncos, that won't affect Lindsay's role as much as it will affect Freeman's. And if Devontae Booker's only going to see 18 to 25% of the snap share, then maybe you do get a greasy 6-7 catches from Philip Lindsay. But that's a very specific script to get a guy to RB1 status.
And that would be an outlier. He's never done that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't bank on that. So 19, like I like Philip Lindsay. I don't love Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, no, I was commending your placement of him.
Thank you.
In the midst of a
What are
2-touchdown
greasy
world.
receptions? I've never heard greasy receptions.
Oh, great. Oh, I mean, greasy receptions is what Rocket Richard.
Oh, yeah.
Theo Riddick has built a career on greasy receptions.
Okay, is that what you're?
That's a
calling
lot
them?
of like to be fair to
A lot of
Stephon-
hey, we're just down and we're not doing anything. Let's throw to Theo Riddick.
Yeah, to be fair to like Stefan Diggs, who's an actual good NFL receiver, like when you keep running 5-yard slants against a prevent defense and then get 9 receptions in the fourth quarter, that is something I would consider like greasy receptions. Just things that really don't impact the game at all.
Oh, PPR rules. Don't worry about PPR. Is Nick Chubb too high at number 9? Because I don't think he is. You want to talk a guy who's like built in for X amount of carries. It's him. And I know these are PPR rankings, but he's getting every shot from the goal line. Every single one.
I guess the argument would be that Fournette has a similar role and is a little bit more involved in the passing game, but at the same time, Chubb's matchup is a lot better. So
And you know what Chubb loves? Long touchdowns.
Loves them. I'd actually start Chubb over James White if I had to choose between the two.
I just feel like James White's so safe for like 6 catches.
He's safe, but I mean, if you're telling me who I'm taking, against this matchup, the Cincinnati Bengals defense has been god awful the past couple of weeks, and it comes back to they lost visual on the linebacking crew, and since he's been out, it's been even worse. This is one of the worst defenses in the NFL over the past couple of weeks.
Matt Breida, 12, too high?
Nope. I was actually surprised. I had him on my list of expected people to talk about, and I'm fine with it.
Are we at all concerned that the passing game stuff just sort of happened?
Yeah,
Or is it because is there enough of an actual change in environment where Mullins steps in and becomes the quarterback that we say, hey, maybe this is something that will actually continue?
Potentially, I think that's on the table. I think that you kind of take the difference between whatever he did the past, or just basically the last
one reception in the prior 4 weeks. Like he was not involved at
all.
But,
and then he was. So I don't think it's going to be as much as he was against the Giants, but it's more than he was the previous 4 weeks. But
yeah,
just without Mostert around, and they have no interest in using Alfred Morris whatsoever. That Breida's locked into the goal line. He's probably going to get 20 touches.
No, I agree.
He's playing Tampa.
And he's locked in even if they're down 30-7. He's still going to be involved. And to the point is, you want to talk about similar defenses. The Giants at this point, since they traded Damon Harrison compared to the Tampa Bay defense, it's not that different.
Yeah. No, I'm fine with him there. That was the one sort of query I had where all of a sudden he was just re-involved in the passing game, and it was strange.
So 21-30 AP, like I mentioned. I just feel like there's so much volume with him that you just play him if you got him.
Well, you'd have to think that with Colt McCoy as their starting quarterback, it's a terrible matchup, but they're going to want to control the clock.
They're at least going to try with Peterson.
You would assume that the first 2 plays of this game, well, if they're smart, the first play of this game is going to be a play action. But
play action just deep to someone.
Yes. Yeah. Who that is, I don't know. But Peterson get 2 carries first.
Hold on. As soon as you get 20 yards downfield, Colt McCoy has one of the worst marks in the NFL over the past 20 years.
Doesn't shock me.
Yeah, but you have to take that shot though, because Dallas is going to set up, because everyone knows the first offensive play for the Skins, especially if they get the ball first, is run up the middle with Adrian Peterson. Now that 99% is what they're going to do. So you just throw out a quick play action, just bomb it. See what happens.
No. Quick play action. Don't bomb it. Just quick play action. You can do 20, 25 yards downfield. You don't have to go 40 with Colt McCoy.
15-yard crossing route, whatever. But run play action.
Yeah, hit Trey Quinn up the seam.
There you go.
Then you're good to go. So Adrian Peterson, the Duke Johnson at number 22 to kind of piggyback on what Jake said about the Bengals defense. Peyton Barber, who scores all of his touchdown when Jameis is in the game. Can't score with Fitz, only scores with Jameis. Tevin Coleman, Dion Lewis, Theo Riddick, Gus Bus Edwards, 27. Chris Carson, Kenyon Drake, and Jordan Howard. McCoy and Lamar Miller, Josh Adams, all after that. Elijah McGuire, Austin Eckler, Frank Gore. You probably don't need to dip into these guys this week, which is really nice.
It's great.
So Edwards is, I guess, one we really do need to have a discussion about.
I think it's interesting, the pairing, too.
It could be so much fool's gold that he could come out this week and have 1 carry. That's on the table for Gus Edwards. Now, I don't actually think it is, but I had to bake in risk into the ranking because I don't think that Baltimore is going to come out with exactly the same game plan. You can do it. You can do it against Oakland. Yes. Is the thing. You could feasibly run exactly the same offense as last week, and it works.
We could get Flacco back, though. There's a lot
Flacco
ain't
of coming back. Here. They're going to take Flacco. They're going to call their main man Ray Lewis and be like, can you take care of Flacco? He'll be like, no problem, blood.
I feel like...
Here's what I'll say. Positive side. And so that I wrote up Gus Edwards quite a bit this week because that's what everybody's asking about. So big dude runs a 4.5 and change on his pro day at Rutgers because he didn't obviously come to the combine. If you look at what he is, he's strictly a north-south runner. But the good news is if you want to say comparison to player comp for people out there, he's Derrick Henry. Well, a little bit smaller, but he's what Derrick Henry should be, where he just runs it straight up the middle. He doesn't try to bounce it outside. He doesn't try to go on sweeps and stuff, just runs it up the middle. And here's the best part about it. The Ravens are actually near the top of the league in runs off to the left and the right of the center and off the right guard, which is what he just does, runs it up the middle. So he's a great fit for this offense as long as John Harbaugh actually sticks with him.
And that's the biggest concern because we've seen this backfield get flip-flop. But I think you make a good point about him being a north-south runner, which complements really well to their new running back. Well, their new running back who plays quarterback and is their east-west runner. Yeah. He's just going to run off tackle every time.
Look, like Jake said, there is it's probably the most high variance running back we have on the board, and there is a lot of upside here, not just because of the situation he's in and how the offense is run, but Oakland is terrible. But like I said, I think it's interesting that he's at 27 and then Chris Carson is at 28 because I almost think, in a weird way, there's so much safety in Chris Carson. Like the last 5...
Sure, but I want to shoot for some upside.
Sure, but that's not even to say that Chris Carson doesn't have upside. I mean, you're talking about a guy who in his last 5 full games has averaged 22.5 touches per game. He gets all the goal line work, even with the Mike Davis, Rashad Penny stuff. In the 5 games he's played in full, those same 5 games, 14 of the 22 goal line touches. So I just feel like Carson is so safe, and it's not like he's Frank Gore safe or anything. Like, this is a team that runs the ball so much. I don't think there's a scenario where Carson doesn't see 16 to 20 touches in this game.
I mean, that's a very compelling case. Where would you move Carson up to? Because it doesn't sound like the debate is between Edwards and Carson. It just seems like you want Carson higher.
I would have him as back at RB2. I'd have him ahead of... like, he and Tevin Coleman are close for me. I just think Tevin Coleman has an element of the passing game.
Pete Carroll's been it's infuriating with his running backs this year. But to your point, the one clear thing is that if Chris Carson is healthy, that's the lead option. But as much as I even say that, if you look at the game against the Packers, the snap count was 30 to 22 for Mike Davis. So he's the lead. But, you know, if in a game where maybe they don't run the ball as much, I don't think he's as safe as some people think. I'm not coming at you completely because I do think he is safe because he is the lead guy as long as he's healthy. I just don't think people realize the volume it's not as good as people actually think.
That's fair.
With Jake coming at you, do you feel attacked?
No.
Would you like to go over to the safe space?
No.
Like
we should maybe stop talking about the Seahawks, though. That seems to be the area of discontent.
Because no one can.
I like Nick Vannett this week.
No one can figure out what's going on. Like, I finally jump off the Doug Baldwin train, and all of a sudden Doug Baldwin's good again.
I know. Again, I would say the only thing I can trust.
Wilson.
Yes,
that's the guy.
Aside from Russell, I do think you can trust Carson, and obviously, Rashad Penny looking as at least decent as he has the last 2 weeks.
Do you think it just took him the 8 weeks to lose all that weight he gained in the preseason?
I mean, he was hurt in the preseason too. There's been some weird stuff.
He was like
with
a legitimate fat.
Yeah, he was. But it did seem very regimented what they had to do. It obviously got a little crazy towards the end of the game where the Steelers, you know, it's weird to say about a game Seattle actually won, but the Steelers were leading for most of that game. It seemed Mike Davis was Packers, excuse me. It seemed Mike Davis was very set in stone as just their third down and pass catching running back. Like he was not getting carries. So I don't really worry about his 22 snaps too much because it seems like when Carson's on the field for his 37, he's probably going to see the ball 20 to 25 times.
Is Dion Lewis, Theo Riddick too high? Because Riddick's in a really nice spot here, I think.
I think he's a little bit too high if Trubisky doesn't play, just because I could see this being the Lions actually win and can grind out the clock with LeGarrette Blount.
Trubisky's gonna play, right?
I don't know. I don't think they need him to. I mean, they're going to get the extra 10 days. I mean, it was essentially 2 weeks. There's no
Chase Daniel also has to earn his next backup quarterback contract.
This is true.
He has to play once every 3 years.
I wouldn't be just punting this game away if I was the Bears, though. You need to keep winning.
Oh, sure. Look, yesterday when this news broke, I wasn't concerned. Today, to hear Nagy actually say stuff like, we're cautiously optimistic he'll play, not great. Like, I thought this was sort of just, it's week 12, we'll give our quarterback a little bit of rest. I know people had talked about the Harrison Smith hit, but, you know, he popped back up from that pretty quick during the game. I didn't think it was a big thing, but this might be a thing. It's a little worrisome.
right before we came on, Chicago Tribune reports plenty of signs point towards Mitchell Trubisky missing Thursday's game because of it did not practice in full today, and then the pessimism around the team.
That's not good.
Well, we all cannot be out there slinging it like Ryan Tannehill.
Well, I get, thrown for the first time in months. But the big thing with Riddick versus Blunt is no matter whether Trubisky plays or not, Detroit will want to run the ball. The problem is they won't be able to run the ball with Garrett Blunt.
And I mean, look, that's you've got Galladay at 16, and I don't think you could necessarily move him any higher. But realistically,
I actually looked for ways to move him lower.
Really?
But I couldn't.
I don't know how
so much.
I know, but I don't know how he doesn't get 12 targets in this game.
I agree.
They're
That's
going
why
to
he's where he's
realize
at.
they cannot run the football. And
Which leads me to a lot of Bruce Ellington, a lot of Theo Riddick, very quick passes.
Yeah.
Just get it out of Stafford's hand.
I think Ellington's PPR deep league. If you need a flyer, there's a decent one there. And speaking of which, as we're doing this, Matt Patricia came out and said he's very confident that Zach Zenner can help this team.
Has Zach Zenner done something on Thanksgiving before? I feel like he's a weird Thanksgiving guy.
Thanksgiving game.
I feel like Theo Riddick is the Thanksgiving Day darling. He lights up Thanksgiving. I feel like Zach Zenner's had one good game ever.
I think it was on Thanksgiving though.
It may have been a preseason game.
I just remember playing Zach Zenner in the Wishbone once, and it sticks with me. But yes, he did have a great preseason one time, and his name helps.
Yeah, Zach Zenner, white running
really
back.
makes it stick in your head.
2 Z's, white guy playing running back. He's a guy that lingers in your mind. I bet you he has great fundamentals.
Probably
Knows all of the plays.
Well, yeah, he's going to pick up the playbook really quickly.
Yeah, well,
no one's even questioning it. He's been on the team for 3 years.
I think he's been on the Lions for like 20 years
Yeah.
now. But, okay, so the other guys in this range, Howard at 30.
Nope, it was the day after Christmas game.
Okay.
Howard at 30, is that too high, too low? Because it feels like
it's kind of just where you have to put him. It's a good matchup on paper.
Well, like him, what's really the difference between Howard, Shady, and Lamar Miller right now?
And there isn't one, but Howard has the best matchup of the 3. So I think
Shady's got the best workload breakdown.
And Miller's the one who gets the most consistent work week after week.
Yeah.
They're all just because the thing is, I was actually going to say if Trubisky was at quarterback, I'd want Jordan Howard higher, especially against the Lions. But at the same time, if he's out, I mean, they just throw all of it out the window.
I mean, what did he got like 15. It was sort of quiet how he racked up 15 carries on Sunday night. Like it didn't seem like it was happening. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I did get 15 carries.
But he still didn't do anything.
I know, but I mean, look, if we're talking about Lamar Miller's volume, we have to bring this kind of stuff up, right? I think they're properly put into a little subsection of the rankings, and you kind of just pick whatever one has the best possible matchup, and Detroit's a really good matchup.
Okay, who has the potential for fewer carries this week? Let's say one of these guys gets 9 carries and one of them gets 17. Gus Edwards versus Josh Adams. Because everyone's basically like, Josh Adams is the new Aaron Jones. He's going to be unleashed by Doug Peterson. He's great. But if he gets 5 carries this week, not going to be super stunned.
Yeah, I would.
It would be, but I'm actually writing up Josh Adams as a sleeper, despite the fact I want nothing to do with the Eagles' backfield this entire year. But he's facing the Giants. Even if he only gets 11 touches, he's going to have a good game. This defense, since they got rid of Harrison, has given up 15 or more points in the 3 games since Adrian Peterson caught a touchdown against this team. They've given up 5 touchdowns, 300+ yard rushing games in the past 3 weeks. One of them to Peyton Barber. I'll start Josh Adams if he's only even getting 11 touches.
I don't love Josh Adams. I just don't love the volatility of that backfield because if it could just be, hey, we saved Wendell Smallwood last week. We rested him up. Now we're going to use him. It's like, oh, great. Like there's that potential. And I feel like there's
there's always that potential.
There's that potential for Edwards too. It just all of a sudden like, hey, Alex Collins is the guy again.
Fair. I would say that at least Josh Adams from an archetype standpoint kind of fills the Jay Ajayi role.
Sure.
Like he's just someone who can
that.
run between the tackles. He's not needed to be involved in the passing game. And we saw that Ajayi, like I don't think he's going to get the implied workload that Ajayi was getting early in the season, but I do think that, like you said, to pencil in 10 to 13 carries, which is not a high number, but against the bad defense.
Has he ever got that many in a game?
What did he have last week? Was it
8?
Was it 8? Okay.
But he had the 33-yard touchdown.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's got flex consideration this week. Like, I'm not excited to use him.
I agree as flex consideration. That's why I have him at
yeah.
number 33. Maybe it wasn't a 33-yard touchdown. Maybe I saw 33 next to his name and just thought that. Forget what it was. It was a decent touchdown though. But like I like him
Maybe
more.
You should go to Brain Insights.
Yeah, the Scientologist.
I would start Josh Adams over Jordan Howard if it's Chase Daniel at quarterback.
I don't even know about. I actually might like Jordan Howard more if Chase Daniel's playing quarterback.
Nah, it's this the Bears. And actually, the reverse has been true. Since the Lions traded for Damon Harrison, now it's the pass catching running backs that you want against them because they've been holding teams to under 4 yards a carry now.
I feel like Nagy's system is also set up pretty well for just bad quarterbacks. Not saying that Trubisky's a bad quarterback, but it's a system that really holds your hand. Like, it's a lot of easy throws. They do tend to run the ball a lot more than people give them credit for. I feel like, you might have a first-year head coach just saying, like, I don't need this. I trust my system. Chase Daniel can be plopped in here. We're not going to change our game plan all that much.
Pick a Jets quarterback or running back against the Patriots.
That's Elijah.
McGuire.
I think it's Lizzie too.
It's just the script. You've seen it the last 2 weeks. Like, even though that Dolphins game wasn't, in terms of just looking at the final score, like, wow, they were being pummeled in that contest. They were just so unable to move the football and so down in the scope of that particular game that it was a pass-heavy script, and he has dominated the snaps when it's a pass-heavy script.
So from beyond, I have Austin Eckler 35, Frank Gore 36, Collins, Crowell, Davis, and Royce Freeman. Is there anyone from down here that should be higher? Like, I'm just not buying LeGarrette Blount.
I will say you have Kenyon Drake is probably in. If for some reason he does not play, Kalen Ballage does become an interesting sort of flex option.
Wouldn't you just play Gore?
I just think there's a lot of opportunity to play pass-catching running backs against this particular Colts defense. And I also...
Maybe they'll just throw to Frank Gore. Give him his ultimate revenge.
I just don't see them keeping this game particularly close. This would not be a Frank Gore game for me. But like in a deeper format, 14 teams, 16 teams, something like that. Like Ballage might... Look, waiver wire for running back is pretty tough.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
Would you spend all your fab money on Gus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I would.
Yeah, I have him as my
You have
number
to
one
take
pick.
that chance.
Yeah,
he could be a top 20 running back or not. It's week 12. I mean, what are you holding on to it for?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm using it now to pick up like defenses and stuff.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I will say the Harbaugh quote about like we have 4 running backs that all fill like 4 different roles. We like where we are. Didn't love that, but again, it's the variance.
I don't understand why he said 4 too, because they still don't have Kenneth Dixon back for other reasons not related to health.
Gus Edwards, Alex
Montgomery.
Collins, Montgomery, and Buck Allen.
Yep. All of whom at least
I was already
played
tossing Buck Allen aside.
They all played at least 7 snaps last week. Like that's not a huge number. I get that, but it's chipping away.
Well, they want to run the ball 78 times a game.
Do they get like 60 players on their game day roster? How do you bring out 4 running backs, 3 quarterbacks, 17 tight ends? I don't understand how they all fit into the 53-man roster.
Well, they all like double on special teams.
Okay, fair.
Like Ty Montgomery, I think is returning kicks for them now.
Sure. It's more a joke than anything, but like...
I think
they're
I started to
in
work it
coverage.
through my head. Like, but yeah, I think that is how they do it.
Yeah.
All right, wide receivers. Let's switch the page. I have AJ Green as probably playing because I think he's going to be back.
Seemed like he was close last week.
Robbie Anderson, Devontae Parker, Julian Edelman, and Michael Gallup, who's dealing with a personal issue, all look like they're going to play on Thursday or Sunday or Monday or whatever. Probably out. Marv, Crowder, Torrey Smith, Tywan Taylor, Josh Malone, Chad Williams, Randall Cobb, Martavis Bryant, and Jordy Smelson. Brendan LaFell, Sexwell, ruptured his Achilles. He is done for the season. So the rankings. You got DeAndre Hopkins at number 1. Thielen, Beckham, Thomas, Brown, Julio, Devontae Adams, Keenan, T.Y., Juju. 11 is Stephen Diggs, Edelman, A.J. Green, Mike Evans, Alshon, Kenny Golladay, Tyler Boyd, Josh Gordon, Larry Fitz. Giving you fits. At number 19, Jarvis Landry. Too high, too low, Garion.
I think Fitz is a little high.
I think Fitz is a little high too.
I would play Jarvis in a good matchup. I would
Does
play
Jarvis
Sanders.
do anything?
No, he hasn't. But this would be the
got a
matchup.
glorious
you would understand.
matchup.
Don't we say that every week? Haven't they? Didn't they just
Look,
run
he's
through
had-
like the greatest
he's had
schedule
pretty
ever?
good matchups. He has, but Cincinnati, I think, is a whole new level of good matchup.
This is a whole new level and he's still, and for all the problems he's had so far, he's still getting over 20% of the target share every single game.
And he still leads the NFL in wide receiver target share in terms of percentage of the team's red zone targets. Like, he still sees like 45% of their red zone targets. It's
eventually going to click somewhere.
It's eventually going to click, or it's going to go the other way, where they're like, we're not throwing to this loser anymore.
And look, Fitz has
let's
that
go throw
similar...
to Rashard Higgins.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
Fitz has that similar sort of monopoly in terms of at least the red zone targets, unless you count David Johnson. And I will say, too, obviously, this is a game script that sets up a little bit more for Josh Rosen having to be towards the like 35 to 40 attempts range as opposed to completing 9 passes last week.
Made everyone fantasy viable.
Did spread the ball around.
Everyone, Fitz had a good game, Kirk had a good game, DJ had a good game, and Rosen had a good game. That's all that matters, except for Ricky Seals-Jones.
Yeah, but so I saw this earlier today. Somebody tweeted it out. Is Fitzgerald's going to get Desmond King, who's only allowing 0.19 points per target against him. He's one of the best corners in the NFL, and to that point, it's the complete opposite. He's got one of the worst matchups. Jarvis Landry has one of the best.
Yeah, but is Desmond King familiar with veteran guile? Can he handle such a crisp route runner like Larry Fitz?
Who also can't do the freaking sidewalk little jumping thing. What I can't think of whatever it's called.
Hopscotch?
That commercial still infuriates me that he doesn't do it right.
The NFL Network? Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
So if I had to move Larry Fitz down, how low would you move him? Would you move him below Amari Cooper?
Yeah, I would have him above Allen Robinson, I think is how far I would go.
So I have Allen Robinson at 23. Jake, how far down would you drop Larry Fitzgerald?
I would go that far, but I also have, and I know he's been wildly inconsistent, but I would have Doug Baldwin over Allen Robinson and then him behind Doug Baldwin. Allen Robinson's got a terrible matchup too. This actually, Darius Slay's pretty much shut him down every single time he's faced him, which is once, I think.
Hey, 100%.
I feel like Allen Robinson is the Adrian Peterson of wide receivers. Just when you don't think he's going to do anything, that's when he goes off and people get on him. He does nothing.
I mean, they're starting to get a situation.
Also, we still might be doing Chase Daniel. Then
No,
we got to go back to that again.
If it's Chase Daniel, these rankings assume that Trubisky is playing. If he's not playing, I'll adjust the rankings. Good reason to tune in to that Thursday morning show at 11 a.m., by the way.
I just think there's too much. There's just too many targets right now. Even if Trubisky does play, they don't throw the ball enough where I would even say that Allen Robinson's really like a de facto number one wide receiver on his own team right now. The way they just intersperse Gabriel and Miller, and Josh Bellamy was getting high leverage targets in that game.
Josh Smellamy.
I think you spelled his name wrong here.
Probably.
Yeah.
I did spell Jordy Nelson, Jordy Smelson.
I did see that.
Actually, I'm looking right now. There's a handful of guys I'd rather start than Allen Robinson, Larry Fitzgerald, and obviously Corey Davis if we don't have Mariota. Like I know people want to drop them. I'd start Valdes-Scantling. I'd start Shepard. I'd start DJ Moore. I'd start QT, and I'd probably stop there.
I mean, they're all pretty close in the rankings. They're the next four guys. But
I know.
I'll move down. I'll move Fitzgerald to one spot ahead, like into Allen Robinson's spot, and I'll move down Allen Robinson. Where should I move Allen? Like, you would play QT over Allen Robinson, Jake?
Yes. The one thing about QT is outside of the game that he got hurt, he's had one game where he really didn't do that well. And I think that was the Jaguars game, or if it was the Bills game. It was one of the two. One of them he got hurt in. The other one was they're both great defenses, pass defenses. So outside of that, he's been used as the number two, even when Will Fuller was out there and now Demaryius Thomas is out there.
I mean, do we even know if that is Demaryius Thomas or is it just a corpse like Weekend at Bernie's? So where would you put Allen Robinson?
I think that's a good spot, actually. And I guess
in
we can
between
then...
QT and Cortland Sutton?
Yeah, and then we can have the Traquan conversation in a second.
Well, Traquan's another one who might not play.
Yeah, he didn't practice today. It's true.
No, he did. He got limited.
Oh, is it limited? Okay. I initially saw
limited, which they said it was a good sign because it's already Tuesday and he's already limited.
So here's the thing with Traquan. I have him at number 33.
Never had more than 3 receptions in a game before last week?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, I think you can play him and roll the dice on him because we know what the upside is. And if he's banged up, this is a really interesting conversation for season long versus like DraftKings. He is an absolute fade on DraftKings.
Oh, 100%.
Because people are all over him right now. You got to play some Traquan. He's so good. That's why you need to have Kirkwoodson or whatever the hell his name is in.
Kirkwood?
Keith Kirkwood.
There you go.
That's the guy that you want on the DraftKings slate. But Traquan, he has enough upside, and in this matchup, I think 33 is fine. Like, really, what's the difference between Traquan and Calvin Ridley at this point? That's why they're back to back.
Traquan Smith. Here's Traquan Smith for everybody. He's Devery Henderson, who was turned into Dante Stallworth, who turned into Kenny Stills, who turned into Ted Ginn, and now it's Traquan Smith. That's who he is.
Yeah. I would say there is added value just in the sense that if one thing was apparent in that game against the Eagles, it's that Sean Payton will not take his foot off the gas. This is not a team that's going to get up 30 points and stop throwing the football or throwing the football on 4th down when up 30 points.
And 7.
Crazy. I mean, their implied total for this game is 37 points. It's 7 points higher than any other team on the slate. I just think you treat them as you would, maybe like those old school 2007 Patriots almost. Like, you just play whatever parts of that team you have. So if you have Traquan Smith, I would be hard-pressed to not play him. Although I understand that owning Traquan Smith is a situation where it's not like you don't have wide receiver depth because you probably just picked him up for free a couple weeks ago.
Like people, like I saw some other waiver columns out there this week that said he was the #1 wide receiver pickup. I just don't think that's the case.
It's gonna be there's gonna be variance. I
Like,
understand.
I'd rather
that.
have Cutie. I'd rather play Cutie.
That's a
rather
more
have DJ
consistent play.
I'd rather have Sutton.
I would also see this week. I think I would rather play Traquan than Sutton. It's just a bad matchup for Sutton.
I think
Yeah, this week specifically.
it feels like a bad matchup for Emmanuel Sanders. They'll focus
It's a
on
bad matchup for both, really.
I guess so. I just think that they're gonna have to pass so much that through volume they should get there.
You're
And
still asking Case Keenum to do it, though.
he's on the case though.
It's just a bad, like they have such a terrible injury-plagued offensive line. You've got one of the best pass rushes in football. I just don't see this going well for the Broncos offense in general.
I don't mind Cortland Sutton. If we're gonna give Jarvis Landry a spot because of volume, we got to give those two spots because of volume.
Yeah, but Landry's volume plus matchup. This is a exceedingly
they're all
inarguably
good
bad
matchups.
matchup.
They're all Twix, Garion. He doesn't do anything.
Defenses don't matter. I thought we figured this out 4 weeks ago.
I think according to Jarvis Landry, they don't matter. Doesn't matter
it
who
just
he's
sucks
playing.
against everybody. It's great.
15 targets, 3 catches.
Bless
Thanks.
him. Bless him.
So the rest of the guys in this 30 range, so it'll be Cutie, Allen Robinson, Sutton, Mohamed Sanu, Anthony Miller, Traquan, Calvin Ridley, Golden Tate, Dede, Christian Kirk, Bruce Ellington, who I do like this week, Tyrell Williams, and Tyler Lockett. I think Tyrell Williams might drop Patrick Peterson.
That would be the logical. Yeah.
It's not going to be Keenan. He's not going to follow Keenan into the slot.
No.
So you sacrifice someone. One of the Williams gets sacrificed.
I mean, LaFell Sexwell did catch a touchdown before he got hurt.
Was that on him?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
But it was a
Veterans-
real weird.
Veteran savvy.
I think
Yeah,
it was
it's,
like a late play
Peterson slipped in
rollout
the end
kind of
zone.
thing. Yeah, it was a gift.
The rest of the guys here, we got like Lockett, Deshaun Jackson, Funches, Hump Daddy. I think Willie Snead is the only
A lot of targets.
decent start of the Ravens receivers because
He's the slot guy, and that's Lamar Jackson's not throwing it more than 10 yards downfield.
I got Trey Quinn as the top Redskins receiver, Curse is the top Jets receiver, Inman, Callaway, Godwin, Marcel Aitman, the best of the Raiders receivers.
Ooh.
How about an Insta-Raider for you? Marcel Aitman.
He actually, look, hey, I'll tell you.
ain't who you think he is.
He
quick
ate
version,
me.
the quick version of my draft profile on him is he's the new Des Bryant for the Raiders, and he's not as talented as Des Bryant, but that's all he is. Somebody that doesn't separate well, somebody that you just want in the red zone, somebody's a big body, and they're going to use him as their #1 because it's not Seth Roberts.
See, the problem is, even if you're the Raiders' #1, what does that really do for you?
No, because they got to get in the red zone, and how often does that happen?
And maybe the worst matchup you could possibly draw, too.
Yeah,
So
it's not great.
Yeah, bad news.
Is there anyone below that? Like, should Zay Jones be higher? You love yourself. Is Matt Barkley starting or is Josh Allen going to start?
I think Allen might, but I don't think there's been a definitive word yet. Doesn't matter. Matt Barkley, amazing.
That's
so
true.
Really, just the best options. I don't know. We've just got so many teams where you could argue that so and so is their #1. Like I would still say you have Devontae Parker too low.
But he also might not play.
It's true.
So I don't know how healthy he is.
Fair, but I think if he's active, even if you include that game against the Packers, like if you just want to take the section of the game where he was healthy, he was still on pace to play 90% of the snaps in that game, which would mean we have 3 consecutive games where he's played 85% of the snaps because unlike early in the season, there are no more Dolphin receivers. No one is left. They had to sign Bryce Butler, who is the international symbol of we don't got no receivers. And I just think that you look at his game logs. He had 11 targets in one, 9 targets in the other. I just think they have to figure out what he is, and I trust that offense more with Tannehill back. I'm not saying Tannehill is an amazing quarterback, but he's a lot better than Brock Osweiler.
I think Tannehill likes throwing to Kenny Stills.
Maybe, but Stills has 19 catches this year.
Plus, he also has the stills and skills to pay the bills.
He's got the money
But
to pay the bills.
Has he even recovered from running into that wall yet?
No, that's like he's afraid of scoring touchdowns because he's going to get hurt if he scores a touchdown.
Why is that wall so close to the back
Because
of
they
the end
had
zone?
to build stupid
living
lounge
chairs.
Yeah, like they wanted to make suites that were living rooms basically because no one comes to Dolphin games. So if the people do come, at least they'll spend a bunch of money. That should be the team they really move to, like Mexico City or wherever the heck they're moving
London.
the team.
You would just, if the Dolphins move, would you stop cheering for them?
I've thought about this a lot.
Would that be your out? You just be like, I'm done. No more.
I don't know. I don't think I would be. I think I would still convince myself it's like the same roster, so who really cares? And also, what am I gonna pivot to? The Bills?
Oh yeah, you can be a Bills fan. Join
Did
the
you say you have
cavalcade of
Pierre
crazies.
Garçon in or out?
I have him in. I have him at number 63 in the rankings.
That's somebody that further down if you want to roll the dice against Tampa Bay. Him or if Tajay Sharp, if Mariota's at quarterback, Tajay Sharp is kind of clicking out of that slot. So, but these are hopefully, to your point earlier in the show, it's only 2 teams on a bye. You don't have to go this far.
Yeah, is there anyone like legit down here on this list that you think is a good play that I should move up?
Those were
besides Parker?
Move up?
Yeah.
No, those were just dice rolls.
Yeah. I mean, like you said with Zay Jones, it's another guy who has a high target share in the red zone, but how often can you actually convince yourself Buffalo's going to get to the red zone against Jacksonville?
Stop. Zay Jones keeps trying to tease us all the time. He's always on the waiver wire, and he's like, pick me.
Was Zay Jones the one in the offseason who was like running naked through the hotel, all hopped up on the drugs?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Put
I
him higher.
I got a thumbs up from Paul from behind the camera.
Put him higher.
Yes.
That's winning
he
tactics.
hurt himself doing it.
Yeah, I think he like tried to jump out a window, but the window was closed.
No, supposedly he was saying it happened because he was running after somebody that he knew, and that's why he was naked running after him. It wasn't actually him that was on the drugs.
All right, so quarterbacks. This is real dicey. I have Josh Allen, Marcus Mariota, Cam Newton, Sanchez, and Mitch Trubisky in. Who do you think wins more games the rest of the season, Sanchez or Samchez? I can't wait to bust cussed out with that one. He'll be so triggered.
I really hope Mark Sanchez ends up starting.
Out, I have Flacco and Tannehill. So I guess Tannehill might play.
No, he was officially announced as a starter today.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
So this is what I
Again, he was out there whipping the ball around the field. Can't be stopped.
So we're putting the Brock Ness monster back on the... He's taking a rocket ship to the bench? So the rankings themselves, I have Drew Brees at number 1. Andrew Luck at number 2. Cam, Matt Ryan, Mitch Trubisky at 5 if he plays, because it's a glorious matchup. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Jameis, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz. Then it's like Brady, Watson, Rivers, Ban, Baker, Lamar, Dalton, Mullins, Dak, and Eli Manning.
I'm so upset that right now I'm in the process of picking up Jameis Winston.
You should.
I will start Jameis Winston,
Okay.
and I will inevitably be disappointed by Jameis Winston.
3 starts this season. 2 of them he made it all the way through. In the 2 that he made it all the way through, he threw the ball 51 and 41 times.
I know.
Throwing for over 365 yards in both those games. In the game that he got benched against the Bengals, he still threw the ball 35 times.
I know. This quarterback unit of Tampa Bay
is the number 1 quarterback in fantasy, I believe.
They've
outside of Mahomes.
They've gone over 30 fantasy points 3 times. They've gone over 20 fantasy points 6 times. 7 times if you want to include last week, where technically together they got like 21 fantasy points. With Fitzmagic throwing 3 interceptions. So, yeah, again, I'm going to do it.
Earlier today that they've already got like 3,800 passing yards.
Yeah, between the 2 of them, they've scored more fantasy points than Drew Brees.
Look, I'm going to do it. I just know I'm going to be disappointed.
Garion, the first start, you're okay. It's the second one after that you're worried about.
Inevitably, he'll be pulled. But again, I had a quarterback that I started last week who was pulled halfway through the game. So really can't get worse from here.
Was that Mariota's on?
Yes, it was Mariota's on.
Well, he got hurt.
I mean, it could have been Carson Wentz. He could have played the entire game and still got you negative points.
Oh, negative points. Not great.
Yeah, not fantastic.
Not great.
I lost $50 to Raybon with that.
Yes.
I bet him Wentz would outscore Breeze. Didn't work out.
Literally,
at least you knew it was over early.
Infinitely wrong.
Well, no, because it wasn't 0. It was in the negatives.
Yeah, so at no way could you multiply that
I suppose
number.
that's true. I'm glad Cuss didn't take any of my head-to-head bets.
Yeah, that's true.
He pussied out and wouldn't take any of them. He should have. He would have won bucks.
Yeah.
Because I was big on Dalvin Cook. Didn't turn out to be great. Not a great week for me last week. I used up all my Mo in golf the week before, hitting big winners.
That's fine.
Yeah, it pays more.
Wait. You have Colt McCoy over Josh Rosen. Come on.
Yeah, of course. Colt McCoy rules.
I mean, I know that's the bottom end of the rankings, but come on.
You really think I'm putting much thought into the bottom end of these rankings?
He still has
No, but
Tavon
how sad
Austin in his wide receiver rankings.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Is he dead?
Yeah,
He's there in spirit.
sure.
Ranked over Jordy Smelson.
That's the
I was
important
just going to say, like, how sad of a year has it been for Matthew Stafford that he's this far down?
It hasn't been good. Bad year. You want to make the case for any of these quarterbacks? Like, do I have Lamar too low at 16?
No. Again, I think there's a nice sort of streamable tier here. Obviously, Jameis leads
Jameis
the
is the
pack,
guy.
but like if you're in a deeper league, you could probably still get Jameis. I don't think anyone's going to have him, but like if you really get into a pinch, Nick Mullins is
Baker.
perfectly fine. Baker's in a pretty good spot. Even Dalton, like it's hard to trust Dalton necessarily.
He's in a good spot though.
Cleveland's given up. I think they're 1 of 6 teams giving up more than 300 passing yards per game this season. Like there's
And Green should be
just
back.
good
If Green's
quarterbacks
not
here.
back, I would not even consider Dalton.
No, but I will say with Dalton too. Dalton has really good
Playoffs?
championship week and week 15 matchups. Baker has a great championship week matchup where he gets this exact same Cincinnati team.
Yeah.
Whichever of Lamar or Flacco is going to start games, I guess it's Lamar at this point.
The Ravens have an awesome
Amazing playoff schedule.
Amazing. People say the best.
I know that's the worst part about this whole John Brown thing. Are you going to move up Tom Brady if Gronkowski plays?
No, I'm assuming Gronk is playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's
only because we know the numbers with and without Gronk.
Yeah, but Tom Brady's the new Ben. Sucks on the road.
I think he's just the new. I'm 41 years old, and this is very difficult at this point. And Gronkowski is a shell of him for herself.
I think Brady's fine. Like Brady's infinitely startable. Like I would still take Carson Wentz. So I'd go back to Carson Wentz this week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially against the Giants at home, please. Yes.
Yeah, oh, I discussed this, I think, on the Monday show, but I'll be bringing it up on the spread show as a quick spoiler alert. Now, Jake, I tried to talk to this with Meanie, and Meanie was just out in left field. I was like, what do you think the spread, Giants at Eagles? Have you seen the spread, Jake?
No, I haven't.
What do you think the spread is in that game, Giants at Eagles?
I'd say it's 3.5 Eagles.
What do you think it is?
I would say 4.5.
Okay, it opened at 4.5. It's now 6 for the Eagles. Meanie said it should be 5 for the Giants. That was his guess. I was like, what are you talking about? So here's the thing. It's all and as
Bets.
I know. He just has when it comes to the Eagles, he's
okay.
either all in or he's like they're the worst team in the world.
Fair.
He's classic Eagles fan. But I feel
I
like
already started a tournament lineup with Wentz and Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is going to destroy the Giants.
it's a great week to go. We've already seen this game play out once, and the Eagles beat them by like 900 points in New York. So the narrative working in the favor of the Giants, they've won 2 in a row. They beat the Bucks and the 49ers.
Yeah.
And now you have Philly, who's lost 2 in a row, but they got beat by Dallas in a Sunday night game. As it turns out, Dallas is not as bad as you and I thought they would be. They're pretty good. And they got steamrolled by the Saints. Everyone gets steamrolled by the Saints.
Still going to go under the 8.5 and win me a bet when they win that division. It's going to be one of the more satisfying bets I win.
At 8-8?
Yep.
So the big thing is, like, I just feel like both narratives are working against it, and the Giants get, like, the super narrative that in these games they've been winning. Barkley's been doing a ton. Odell's been doing a ton. And when people create narratives and talk about this, it's like, oh, I have those guys on my fantasy team, and they're doing great. They must be awesome. So, like, let's pump the brakes on the fucking Giants a little bit, all right? Like, I think the Eagles should be favored by 10 in this game. Oh, I'm sorry.
So close.
It came out Sunday night, 4.5, and I just smashed it.
Yeah, I think that's...
And now that number doesn't exist.
Yeah, 6, I'm starting to get a little... But...
What's really the difference between 4.5 and 6?
Ones. Well, I guess 6 is still in the Vegas
A
zone.
1.5.
That's technically true.
This is true, but like in the flow of a game,
Yeah.
4.5 and 6 isn't all that different. Gets a
I
7.
know.
Now we're a little bit different.
Shermer going for 2s all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Throws off the map.
This is true. It's just like when I was discussing it with Cust about the Chargers. Like, it doesn't like the Chargers could be given like 4 extra points or whatever. Like, just take the points against the Chargers. They'll miss a stupid extra point 3 times a game.
It's true.
Anthony Lynn will just call some ridiculous play that makes no sense.
You were so
I might
right.
even-
So
I might
right
even
about that
stack that
Broncos.
with
I
game.
know, right? I was so right about Little last week. Colts smash, I was right about that. And the Broncos just mucking it up because the Chargers are the Chargers.
You really just have to give them a chance to lose the game on their own.
And they'll do it.
They'll do it.
They'll take any opportunity to lose a game.
Where'd you have Eli?
20.
I was just thinking about that part of it. That even might be too high. This might be one of the 150 yards and 3 picks because he just keeps throwing it into the secondary.
I mean, this is the game where...
Joke's on Philly. They have no secondary.
This is true, but you would assume this is the game where the Eagles actually get some pressure on the quarterback.
You would hope so.
You would think so. Whether or not that happens is a different case.
All right. Tight ends. O.J. Howard out for the year. Placed on injured reserve, so that ain't good. Jake, I have questions about Cameron Brate. Will you answer all of them for me, please?
Oh my God. That's how you saw me get triggered on Twitter then.
I did. Gronk, I have as in Swoop, Michael Roberts, O.J. Howard, Jimmy Graham, and Jeff Swaim. I have listed as probably out. Graham's going to try to give it a go.
Swaim is officially out, actually.
Swaim is officially out?
Yeah, he had surgery on his wrist.
There we go. So you can play Blake Jarwin or Jeff Schwartz.
Don't play any of them.
Is it Jeff Schwartz? No, that's a football
Dalton,
writer.
Dalton Schwartz. Rico Gathers.
Feinberg's favorite player, Dalton Schwartz.
Dalton Schwartz.
Yeah. So Ertz is number 1, obviously, in the rankings. George Kittle Me Timbers, number 2.
Yep.
Olsen, Njoku, Doyle, Reed at number 6. Oh, boy. Brate at 7. Burton, Hooper, Heerman.
Oh, God.
Gronk, Herndon the 4th. Ebron, Jared Cook, Rudolph, Uzma.
Yeah.
sadness.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say here. I guess if you're looking to stream somebody, I
It's
said
Braid.
this earlier.
Just get Braid.
I mean, it's Braid, obviously. Again, this Tampa thing kind of messes up all this pick up this guy if you're in a deep league sort of thing.
Do you know why you pick him up?
Because he's Braid.
He's Braid.
Here we go.
Voice is coming back a little bit. I can't.
A little bit.
How long do you think over or under gig fit would I drop that on Cuss tomorrow?
Oh, like how late?
Many seconds of
Oh,
like him
okay.
being like
I'm gonna say a 7-second gig fit followed by a snort, followed by 2 knee slaps.
What about a sig cough? Throw a sig cough in there?
Yeah, probably.
All right. So yeah, Braid, just pick him up, play him every week
Sure.
now.
But like maybe for DK then, Nick Vanette is actually kind of an interesting spot.
Oh, please tell me about it.
7 touchdowns in the last 6 games against the Panthers for tight ends. Like I know you can't pick which one is gonna do it, but I would just
So
say
if you think it's Vanette, start Ed Dixon.
I guess start at
No,
Dixon, but
It's most of the time it's been Vanette, and he had almost twice as many snaps as last
Yeah, he
week.
played
Who
60%.
caught the touchdown last week?
Yeah.
Big
I know.
Dix.
I was gonna say Ed Dixon basically Eric Ebroned him. So, but
Yeah.
who are you still starting for the Colts? You're starting Jack Doyle.
This is true.
not that he sees Jack Doyle volume. But
I got so many questions in the chat on Monday about like what happened to Eric Ebron. Haven't we been like going through this every week? Be like, yeah, he's not gonna
Oh
score.
yeah. Oh Pat, you would have loved this. I got one with my matchup calling about Eric Ebron, and the dude was like, "You're gonna regret disrespecting him again this week."
You'll rue the day. Was it like Eric
That
Ebron's
was
brother?
actually what was in my head
did
when
he
I read
did
it.
he tie you up and like put you next to a giant tank of sharks or something?
Oh, did he Snidely Whiplash tie you to train tracks?
Ah,
And wait,
Oh, yeah.
he'll leave though, so you have time to get out.
true.
He doesn't know the train schedule. It could be hours. You know who gets the most triggered by fantasy rankings, like bad against their team?
illiterate people.
Saints fans.
Oh, okay.
Saints fans are like really up in arms when Saints players aren't #1 at everything. Like people will be mad that I have Traquan Smith at 33.
I'd say have people gotten at you for not having Kamara higher?
Yeah, but you can't. The last time
Where do
you
you,
put,
where do you have
I have him at
Ben
5.
Watson?
Yeah, Ben Watson I have at 23.
23.
Look, unless you know that Ben Watson's wife is about to have a kid, you can't start Ben Watson. It's as simple as that.
You gonna play Hey Arnold?
doesn't
over
that
But
there?
I think
happen,
he
like,
has.
twice a
I
year?
was gonna say I think he has 17 of them, so you know it happens enough. You just have to be patient.
Well, we need these smarter people repopulating the world, or else we're gonna end up in an idiocracy situation. We don't need that.
Although Terry Crews being president wouldn't be too bad.
And Gatorade is what plants crave. So maybe I can get on board with that.
Ow, my balls.
Any sleeper tight ends besides Vanette?
Nope.
You know, Evan Ingram played like
17 snaps.
a third of the snaps of Rhett Ellison.
He didn't even play more snaps than what was his name, Jake? Other
Red
tight
El-
end. No, there's
Scott guy.
yeah, Scott Simonson. Scott Simonson played one more
That
snap
sounds
than
like
Evan Ingram.
That sounds like a creative player. Scott Simonson, like a
Simonson.
really bad one, like someone they give you in the 7th round of a Madden draft. Hey, Scott Simonson. He went to Nebraska. He's 6'7" and white.
It was
No, but that's the point. The concern, like, you're right. The reason why is because what continues to be the problem with the Giants is the offensive line. The one good thing Rhett Ellison can do
Blocks.
is block his ass off.
It was funny to hear Shermer's quote. It was something along the lines of, "We're saving him so he can thrive in areas that he excels in," which, if you read between the lines, is he can't block.
No, and here's the thing. They have the perfect solution. Keep Rhett Ellison out there for the majority of the snaps as the blocker. Stop screwing around with the Betty Fowlers of the world as the third wide receiver and just put Evan Ingram there.
It makes sense.
I have Nick Boyle ranked twice, as I've just noticed. I have him at 22 and 43.
So you want to start the version of Nick Boyle that's at 22.
Exactly. You want to
Yeah.
bench the one that's at 43.
Get him out of there.
I'll make a note.
So one of them is supposed to be Hayden Hurst.
No, Hayden Hurst is in. I didn't realize I had Nick Boyle in the rankings already.
Is one of them supposed to be Mark Andrews? No, you have Mark Andrews too.
No. One of the one at 22 is supposed to be Nick Boyle. I didn't realize I had him in the rankings previously, so he just got kept at the bottom. Ran with my main man David Greenidge.
So for Pat, they really do have 7 tight ends.
I do. I know he was the one who got all the targets from Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying play him, but
Yeah, but I would rather play Vance McDonald, who you could pick up.
I
in
agree.
most
That's why he's
leagues.
higher in the rankings.
Yeah, sure. I just
What if you
You
play
don't
in
have to
a
get to this
Ravens
point.
tight end only league?
oh
Because there's so many.
There
You can
are
build an
many of
entire
them.
league around it. Defenses, to close this out. Baltimore at number 1. Chicago at number 2. Dallas Coming in at number 3, the Chargers at number 4, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Texans, Colts, Patriots, Titans, and then Bills, Saints, Browns, Vikings, Green Bay. Any defenses you particularly like?
I mean, yeah, I was going to say that if Green Bay didn't make your rankings just on the basis of sack potential alone.
That's why they're there.
But yeah, I think we've gotten to a point where most people... I mean, Indianapolis is interesting. They haven't really sacked the quarterback much the last couple of weeks. Sort of like Jake was saying with Detroit.
They play no sacksies rules with the other team. No pressure. It's like a preseason game.
But Juwan James and Laramie Tunsil are still questionable for this game, which would mean the Dolphins could still have 0 starting offensive linemen for this contest. So I wouldn't worry too much about the fact the Colts haven't sacked the quarterback recently.
Well, that's like I think Tennessee's a sleeper defense because of this. Like the Texans' offensive line was bad to begin with, then they just lost 2 more guards.
Did you see how many pressures they got on Deshaun Watson last week?
Who? The Skins?
The Skins.
Was it more than the Texans got on the Redskins?
I believe it was 26 quarterback pressures. Now, one of those worked out a whole lot worse for Alex Smith. But that's a lot of quarterback pressure. That's pretty crazy.
Then they do have a good front.
Sure, but Houston's offensive line is just time and time again.
That's just
so bad.
It's miserable.
So bad.
All right, so no case for anyone else? Denver against Pittsburgh?
I think this is actually a pretty easy defense week.
Yeah.
Denver could be sneaky.
Sure.
Road bend, lots of pressure.
They've got a good offensive line, though.
I agree. But Denver has a very good pass rush.
Sure, and we also saw that Pittsburgh can score 20 points in 5.5 minutes if they really need to.
You got Chris Harris locking down you probably have Chris Harris locking down Juju Smith-Schuster for this game.
He's okay, right? I know he left. Didn't he leave the game last week?
Chris Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did his podcast earlier today. Chris Harris show. Inside fantasy football
I was
jokes.
Say, there you go.
I was going to move Jacksonville's defense down a bit. I just think both these teams might try to run the ball 70 times each.
That is the argument here, which is just in a DFS capacity, there is no good reason to pay for Jacksonville's defense because each team is going to. I think Jacksonville ran at 40, not counting the Bortles scrambles. They ran it 43 times.
Well, let's be realistic about Jacksonville. So Leonard Fournette comes back, and they give him like 70 touches in 2 games. Like, hey, who cares how many times he's been injured? Doug Marrone is insane.
Oh, it is a revenge game.
Yeah.
Doug Marrone revenge.
Oh, God.
He's going to really want to run up the score.
Literally. But
6-3? 9-0?
Not 9. I was going to say 9-3.
9-2?
Maybe 9-4. Get a scoregami action.
I was gonna say, can we get a CFL score on the go in this game?
Maybe. Loser is relegated to the CFL.
There we go. Now you're talking.
There we go.
Like Josh Allen.
Watch this game end up like 33-30.
Do you think Blake Bortles could throw a ball that big?
Oh, does he have mini hands like John
I don't
Beck?
think he does, but I just think he struggles already so much.
I feel like Bortles would be so awesome in the CFL.
Oh, of course.
He is the perfect CFL quarterback because he's quick.
He can run and he's got no conscience. That's every CFL
Arena
quarterback.
League.
No, you want the wider field for Blake Bortles.
Okay.
You don't want him thrown into tight windows.
And the extra players because, he's not the most accurate.
Just throw some nice lobs up there.
Yeah.
Johnny hasn't been so bad. At least I don't think so. Usually you hear when Johnny is really terrible.
I don't remember.
I thought the season was over a couple months ago.
No, the Grey Cup is this weekend?
Oh, God, is it really?
I think it's
That's
this weekend.
going to be disastrous at the bar, like those assholes who were putting on stupid soccer that week we walked in.
Oh, for the Manchester Derby.
Oh, my God. And me being very vocal about, like, turn on real sports.
Yep.
And the British people were not impressed.
Those are like British pub guys drunk at 11 a.m. I wouldn't want to piss them off.
I'll piss off whoever I like.
I mean, it's your life.
Now I know why you've got so many fights.
Well, yeah, this is part and parcel because of it.
Yeah.
Not afraid to voice it's my right to voice my opinion very loudly when I don't like something.
Like soccer.
Like soccer. When football is starting.
Yeah. Especially if it was like 4-1, there was 2 minutes left. Just turn it off. We know no one's ever scored more than 1 goal in 30 minutes of soccer action before. There's no way you could come back.
So, Pat, are you going to be at FSTA? Because if so, my cutoff time of hanging out with you is probably like 9 o'clock.
No, I don't think I'm going to go to FST. That's January, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably won't be able to make that one
Okay.
in January.
Yeah. Oh, why? Because of what Garion ruined on the show?
I know, I cut that
Yeah,
out.
it was cut out.
It was cut out of the show.
So now nobody knows what we're talking about.
Nobody knows, but I might be taking some time off here. right around FST. I would like to go. I like going to FST. It's
Baseball
fun.
season anyway. Who cares?
Oh, yeah. Baseball.
I do.
You do, yeah. You'll be the Garion Thorne experience for 2 weeks talking baseball.
Hooray.
Everyone's going to be like, oh, God, baseball. It's coming back.
I thought they canceled this show once.
Oh, baseball. I don't even want to think about baseball.
Good
Was there a
times had by all.
trade? Did James Paxton get traded to the Yankees?
Yep,
Yes, he
James
did.
Paxton to the Yankees.
Yeah,
It's good for the Yankees. That's my hot take.
pretty good. Yeah.
Right? That'll do
As
it.
long as he stays healthy. They didn't even give up that much.
Any final thoughts on the week? We're done like half an hour quicker than we normally are.
I think, like Jake said, this is either we're just getting to the point where there's nothing left to say about players anymore.
Well, I mean, how
But-
much can we talk about the same guys week
Yeah.
after week and just change our opinion completely?
Yeah, but this seems like a relatively cut and dry week.
Yeah, well, there's so many guys. You don't have.
There's no more buys.
You
It's
don't
great.
have the critical. Like the guys who are the most screwed this week are Chiefs and Rams highly investors, and it really doesn't matter because those teams are probably 10-1.
They're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a game.
They can survive.
Keith Kirkwood,
There you go.
sleeper of the week. Played
Yeah.
the dad on That 70s Show. Now he's going to be scoring touchdowns for the Saints. That's my only.
Do you actually know that guy's name?
It's something Kirkwood.
Yeah, Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood Smith. So
He was
it's
also-
something like that.
He was also the villain in RoboCop.
RoboCop?
Yeah, RoboCop.
Was he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What else is he in? Please.
That's it.
Please, let's go through his IMDb.
Yeah.
Kurtwood Smith. Feel like he was on an episode of something, potentially Frasier.
The Good Doctor?
I have been watching oh my God.
Did you actually watch The Good Doctor?
No! I've never seen an episode
I
of The
wasn't
Good
sure if
Doctor.
Sam maybe just liked The Good Doctor.
She does watch it. I just don't watch it with her.
Okay.
But I was watching football.
Of
'cause
course.
It was Rams versus Chiefs.
Yeah.
I was very invested in that. But I did put out, people didn't see it, that I had taped the football game to binge watch The Good Doctor and Magnum P.I. And people were like, what? The very serious responses to that tweet are alarming.
Yeah.
I was
What's the
watching-
difference between Magnum PI and Hawaii 5-0? Just 2 guys instead of 1?
I couldn't tell you.
I haven't seen a second.
One of them
Did
has
you-
a mustache?
Do you know who plays Magnum
No,
P.I.?
the new guy doesn't.
Yeah, well, we discovered this together.
Yeah, it's Hostel's Jay Hernandez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He got
with no
got.
mustache.
He didn't have a mustache then. He's also in that movie with Kirsten Dunst. Crazy/Love, I think it's called.
Is
know
that
that
recent?
No, I think it's
I
from
thought
like
Kristen-
2001.
Oh, I was gonna say I thought Dunst was like retired like 10 years ago.
No, she
No,
was
she's still in
She was
stuff.
in season 2 of Fargo.
Yeah.
She was good.
Yeah.
I'm still pulling for her.
Are you? Did you watch any more of that Bodyguard show?
No.
I haven't seen any more either. Jake, have you watched that?
No, was that based off the movie?
No. No. It's a lot like Homeland season 1.
That's a good comparable.
It's a Netflix / like BBC show. And it stars
Oh,
Rob
so does it
Starr.
have some, like,
King of the North.
Does it have angry, awkward sex?
Yes.
yes, it does actually. Yes.
There's a lot of angry, awkward sex, at least through 2 episodes.
Which is good for Jake because he doesn't look up porn.
Yeah, it's true. You missed the whole porn discussion that day. Who was getting a sloppy Joe hand job? Is that what we were talking about?
Something like that.
What's a sloppy Joe?
Make them extra sloppy for you, Jake. I'm thinking about we'll do a little show notes here. Over the holidays, I do like to provide content every day, including like a Christmas Cuss Corner and stuff like that, but like evergreen content. We still have the sports movie rankings to continue to go through. Do we want to branch out and do other stuff too? Like, do we want to do like what's the best comedy from 2000 to 2010?
That's
I
fun
have
one.
real takes on that.
Yeah, that's a fun conversation.
That's always a good one. People get triggered about that one.
I think
Good. I want people to get
It's
triggered.
good to divide them into eras, though, too. This is my take on the MLB Hall of Fame. Things should be divided into eras. It makes it a lot easier to determine if something was good or not. Hard to compare things from like 1975 and 2005.
Or 1917.
Yeah. Did you know that Babe Ruth was a pitcher?
I did know
Not
that.
a lot of people know that Babe Ruth was a pitcher.
Apparently people don't know these things. So yeah, the movie one, maybe we do TV shows.
Speaking of not knowing things, to go back to your whole the porn discussion,
This
we
is
were
going to
having
be a shot at me, isn't it?
No. We were having a talk, and we were talking about like our fake stage names to go back to the two references in one here. And I said my stage name would be Carter Cruz, and he's like, "You don't want that name." And I didn't know that was a person that does porn.
Is Carter Cruz a gay porno actor?
No, it's
I'm
actually
gonna say
a
it's
she.
a girl. Yeah.
Oh,
It is.
there you go.
I've never heard the name, but that just seems Carter is popular. Popular. porn
Somehow I
star
just
name.
gave you homework.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
put
what's
it
that,
this way.
Carter?
I'm
I
not,
don't endorse.
outside of the world's most downloaded porn star and friend of the show, Lisa Ann, don't really know a ton of porn stars' names.
I think she's slipping. The association with Gabe Morency just.
She's with Gabe now?
No, I guess that's somebody else. Who does she do the show with?
She does it with
Adam
doesn't
Ronis.
she?
Ronus,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Ronus
Ronus
is good
great.
people. Yeah, he's good people.
You're just trying to take shots at Gabe.
Nah,
Gabe, also friend of the Pat Mayo experience.
he's friend of the Pat Mayo experience.
Just a friend of Pat Mayo in general.
I miss Gabe.
I know. He's
I miss
new-
Cam too.
I'm trying to get Cam to come out to my party.
Okay,
I'm trying to get him on the show too, but the guy's all over the place.
literally. Yeah.
He's sweating all the time.
Can't sit still for more than an hour.
No, he's very hard to frame up when you don't have people working the cameras. Yeah, well, I mean, especially if Jake was on the screen. The last time Cam was in studio, it was a phoner board of Cust on the screen, and he was going like this, leaning this way and talking to Tim into the screen. And Tim just goes, I'm not in the screen. I can't see you out of it. Because Tim sees what the camera sees. Little fun fact on the production. So yeah, that movie stuff should be fun.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay, I'll finish with this, and I threw this out. I did a take cast with Davis. It's coming out on Thanksgiving. It's like an hour and a half. But I asked him this question: if you met some sort of person that had never seen a TV show before, and you wanted to get them up to speed on good TV or what they should be watching, what would be the TV show you would start with? I said Simpsons.
That's a good question.
Now, you don't need to watch all of The Simpsons. You don't need to watch all 75,000 seasons. Just watch seasons 1 to 10.
I would say the first season of Lost is up there.
Lost. That would be lower on my list.
Okay.
Because I think I would still do Seinfeld before that.
I guess it really comes down to what you want to show them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably do Mad Men before I did Lost. I'd do The Wire before I did Lost. Sopranos.
That's fair. I just feel like Lost is such a like with some of those, especially the early 2000s, late 90s prestige TV shows.
Like West Wing?
Not West Wing so much, but more of the stuff that was like on HBO and wasn't on cable. Back when not being on cable was actually a thing that meant something. I just feel like those shows are a little heavy for an introduction, where Lost kind of toes that line of it was prestige TV before we had that, and it was on network cable, so it's still very like
Digestible.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they do it pretty well. I think it's a nice entryway into it.
I think you could do a thing where you went through all the Lost episodes and just cut episodes out.
Oh sure.
Like if
You could make an economic Lost rewatch.
Yeah, so like if there's I think there's 111 episodes of Lost. I think we could get rid of 27 episodes.
Oh, 100%.
Pretty easily.
There's like 7 or 8 you could cut from the first season quickly.
And there's like 14 you could cut
just
from
the
season
entire
3.
third season.
Yeah. So there we go. Maybe these are different ideas. If you have ideas out there, please leave them in the comment section.
Give us your content.
Give us topics you would like to see fleshed out a little bit more, and we're good to go. This whole conversation ended up coming up about Seinfeld was, why is Friends more popular than Seinfeld amongst young people? Is it just because it's on Netflix?
Like now?
Yeah.
Is it?
Generation.
But like Seinfeld's, if we had to give a degree of how much funnier Seinfeld is than Friends, I would say 3,000,000%.
I would agree. Although I will say,
I think it's just because it's on Netflix, so people have access to
possibly, it's also on TV all the time.
So-
So is
so is
Seinfeld,
Seinfeld.
but whew,
it. So is
it
Frasier,
on TV,
which has been great for me.
Is Frasier? Frasier's not
Not
on
to
nearly
the
as much
level
as those
of
two.
No,
shows.
but just it comes on at 11 o'clock every night now. I watch back-to-back Frasier every night.
fair.
There was a great one on last night. It's the one where they all go to the ski lodge, and Frasier's convinced that everyone is in love with him, but no one is. They're all in love with Niles, including the ski instructor who thinks he's gay. Oh, the
What a hoot.
comedy!
What a hoot.
The comedy that comes along with it.
I just think it's actually funny because Seinfeld, you don't really have to know any of the through lines. So I would say in that sense, it's a lot easier to get into. But I get why we would have it above Friends, but I could also just see why the general public would just be like, this is a lot easier to digest.
Friends is pretty easy. What's Jake?
He's Scooby-Doo.
Oh, Scooby-Doo. I went to high school with a guy who had a voice like Scooby-Doo. And it wasn't even Milos Raonic, who does sound like Scooby-Doo. Jake, are you Friends or Seinfeld?
He's Friends.
You know that. You know I'm friends.
You're terrible.
I have both collections. I love them both.
The only good part of Friends is when Chandler used to smoke cigs.
Well, there was like 3 whole seasons when Rachel's nipples were just out the entire time. That was fun.
Have you ever seen that meme where you how do you get 18-year-old boys to watch a show called Friends, and it's just constant pictures of the cold room that they always seem to have.
I prefer to call it a meme. An internet meme.
It's classic.
To answer your question, though, to really get a scope of everything going on in America, if we're also cutting out certain episodes that you just don't need, I'd actually just show them South Park.
Yeah?
That could work.
I always forget South Park on these rewatches.
That's another show, like, I mean, this is a Canada problem, but basic cable in Canada, the channels you get are all owned by the same company. So they only own the same shows.
And they own South Park. It's on all the time.
It's on all the time. And I've been putting it on recently and just realizing how good South Park still consistently is. Like,
oh, yeah.
I don't wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat going, oh my God, I missed the new episode of South Park. But when it's on, I'm more than willing to watch it.
Every Wednesday night I watch it.
Fair enough. It's good.
Yeah. All right. That'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Hit us up with your comments if you want to get in the draw for 20 DK bucks. Like the episode, which... how could you not like it? Subscribe to the podcast, too, if you want to do that. But in order to get into the draw, like the episode, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section and give us a stat line for the Gus Bus, Gus Edwards, in Week 12. Jake, when is everything dropping on theathletic.com this week?
Same days as always. Midnight tonight, if this is Tuesday and you're looking for the rankings, they'll be there and updated just like yours throughout the week. And the podcast, as I said, I'm doing the normal one for the Patreon tomorrow with Joe Bizapi and Chris Meany. And then the recording, the one for Thursday, so you can listen while you're out traveling on Thanksgiving or just you need to get away from the family. So all in sports, and I tweet all this stuff out. You know that.
Garion, where can people find your content?
They can find it mostly at DK Playbook. I'll actually have a write-up on the Showdown contest for Thursday night when you're, again, trying to avoid your family through the loveliness of TV. Yeah. So we'll talk about that Saints-Falcons game.
If I have time, maybe I should cut a best of Cuss Corner.
Always good.
People would enjoy that, I think.
That might take a lot of time.
No,
because it's all the best.
I put them all together and release a 10-hour episode. We'll see. I have some Cuss Corners banked, too. So might have to release those at some point, probably over the holidays. Anyway, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Please download the show audio-wise, even if you're watching on YouTube or on the DK Live app or wherever you watch it. Please go subscribe and download to the audio podcast. Leave a positive review, 5 stars, preferably. If you would do that, it would really help out the show. So thank you for watching. Hit the description for the time codes and for the rankings and the links to all the shows, all that fun stuff. Check out my show with Davis coming up on Thursday on his pod, The Take Cast, and Davis on Tuesday, which is already out. All right? Live, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Thanksgiving if you want something to do. I'm Pat Mayo. Good luck this week. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!